Hello friends, today is Leica Day. Leica just officially released all of the information for the next iteration of the D-LUX line, the D-LUX 8. If you're new here, my name is Leigh and I create videos about photography as an art and as a lifestyle. A few weeks ago, I was able to integrate the new D-LUX 8 into my lifestyle. I use many different cameras, but my Leica cameras are generally the most enjoyable. One part of the Leica lineup that I have not tried out and I have long been curious about is the D-LUX line. So when I was briefed on it, I enthusiastically asked to borrow it ahead of launch. That led me to pre-ordering this D-LUX 8 for my own collection. Here's the story of how I made that decision and my photos. First, what is this camera? The D-LUX 8 is a compact point-and-shoot camera that contains a 4/3 sensor with 17 effective megapixels. The SummaLux lens has a 35mm equivalent field of view of 24 to 75mm at an aperture range of f1.7 to 2.8. It does have macro focusing capability, and the camera retains all of the Leica DNA, like the natural color science and the intuitive menus and controls. And of course, the unmatched industrial design. It does have a full metal housing, which gives me the confidence to toss it into any bag and just not worry about it. If you want more details on the specifications, I will link to the camera in the description of this video, but I found that this little guy supported everything that I wanted to do with it. And here's what I did. I used this camera in some day-to-day photography. I used it around the house to capture life. I used it for a hike in the woods, and I used it for some street photography walking around downtown in Flagstaff, Arizona. When I first received the camera, I set it to capture images in JPEG with the high contrast monochrome setting, and I used it around the house for a few days. I love this monochrome setting on all of my Leica cameras, and this was no different. I could tell right away that I liked holding and using the camera. I looked at Raymond when we were sitting here in what we call our coffee shop, and I said, "Uh-oh." And he said, "You already want it, don't you?" And I couldn't say that I wanted it yet, but using it for those first few shots was enjoyable. And that is sometimes a forgotten component of the process when choosing a camera. If I don't enjoy using a piece of gear, I'm probably not going to use it. I was definitely exercising the upper end of the ISO range in this at-home environment because of the low ambient light, and I am definitely happy with the results. Incidentally, the camera does include a cute little flash unit that you can attach to the hot shoe of the camera. I never took it out during my time with the loaner camera, but I think I will use it in the future once I receive my own D-LUX 8. My conclusion of using the camera just around the house was that I really liked it, but I could probably have used my other small cameras in the same way. And I could certainly have achieved the Leica experience, which I love, with my SL2 or my Q2. But I took the camera into a bright and sunny afternoon on a woodsy northern Arizona hike, and this is where I knew that the size of the camera would set it apart from my other Leica options. I chose to shoot in RAW for these photos so that you can see what the colors look like and so that I could see what the image files were like in post-processing. I confirmed the beautiful Leica colors and the ease of use of the camera. And this is where I knew that I wanted the camera for myself because I thoroughly enjoyed having it with me, but being able to tuck it into my hydration vest pocket when I was trudging up a hill and wanted my hands free. Only my phone and my Sony ZV-1 can do that, but neither of those are as enjoyable and/or as capable as the D-LUX 8. I captured video in 4K 30 frames per second to see how stable the camera was when shooting handheld and how the autofocus performed. All was good there. And back at the computer, I edited the raw stills. I expected the files to perform well, but it was the sky that I really wanted to look at. I find that beautiful bright blue skies are where Leica cameras and lenses perform better than a lot of other options out there. In particular, how the sky goes from lighter at the horizon to darker at the top of the frame. Not all cameras and lenses provide a smooth transition between those tones of blue. I was happy to see that even when I bring up contrast, that graduation of light blue up to medium blue remains smooth on the D-LUX 8 files. I don't have any banding or any harsh transitions. I'm outside a lot, so this element of the camera is of particular importance to me. And truly, I have a ridiculous number of photos and videos taken with my phone from hikes and runs like this one.
Little bunny. Hi, buddy. Hey, you are just the cutest little thing I've ever seen. Can I come by you? Come by. Oh, oh, oh. Good job.
That hike was a time I really would have liked to have a little point and shoot camera with me with more capability than my phone to capture those moments. And it was on that hike when I saw the bunny, after I sent back the loaner D-LUX 8, when I only had my phone with me on the trail, that was the final straw in my choice to pre-order the D-LUX 8. Okay, last I carried the camera around downtown Flagstaff, Arizona one afternoon, enjoying the warm day and doing some gift shopping. As you can see, I did switch back to that high contrast monochrome and JPEG images. I had a wrist strap on the camera, so I just let it dangle when I was shopping. As I did with my other times with the camera, I exercised the zoom. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the camera has a 24 to 75 millimeter effective field of view range. That mid-range zoom is what a lot of photographers like to leave on their camera for travel or for everyday shooting because it is so versatile. And as I did with the other outings, I kept the camera in aperture priority with auto ISO. I chose the focus area and aperture for each shot. Of course, I could switch over to fully manual if I wanted, but I was looking for that ease of use during these outings. Capturing the world around me in a more documentary manner sometimes, and studying the line and texture of shadows in the buildings at other times. You may be saying to yourself now, Leigh, a point and shoot camera? That's the first digital camera you've chosen to purchase in at least a year. You passed up the Nikon Z8, the Fujifilm X100VI, the Leica Q3 and SL3. For now, honey, just for now. I know that I promised you the SL3. Yes, I have many cameras, Leica, Lumix, Nikon, Fujifilm, that provide me all of the capability and flexibility to do things like photograph birds in flight, to take super high megapixel images and shoot 8K video. I love that gear. Each item sits on my shelves back there and gets packed in my camera bags for a reason. But I don't always want to bring the larger gear out with me. What drew me to the D-LUX 8 was its use as an enjoyable everyday carry for capturing my family, my friends, and my life on a day-to-day basis. And for carrying, in addition to my larger cameras, as a B-roll making tiny machine. So let's sum it up. I've already talked about the high points of the camera throughout this video, but in the end, for me, it fills a hole in my camera collection, an ultra compact solution for stills and video that I enjoy using. I do wish it had a flip out screen, but the Leica Photos app is hands down the best camera app I've used and can be quickly connected as a remote monitor and control for the camera for those times that I want to film or photograph myself. One thing I didn't touch on in this video is the controls on the camera body itself. I found them to be perfect. I didn't even change the settings of the function buttons. Out of the box, it had the settings that I wanted to be able to quickly change already programmed into the buttons and dials on the camera. Those ease of use characteristics are so important for enjoying my photography, but also absolutely imperative for using the camera for B-roll in my work. If I'm using another camera for a project, I don't want to be fumbling with the camera that I'm using to film myself. There are other compact camera options out there, some less expensive, some more expensive. The Fujifilm X100 series, the Leica Q series, the Sony RX100 and ZV cameras, the Canon PowerShot series, Ricoh has the GR3 cameras, and I could go on, up to and including the cameras that most of us have with us all of the time, the cameras on our phones. Like with any category of camera, we are in good times right now. There is something out there for everyone at every budget. And while they each have their benefits and drawbacks, every option is pretty fantastic. I already own the Sony ZV-1, the Fujifilm X100V, and the Leica Q2, but I chose to purchase the D-LUX 8 for its compact size and that combination of flexibility and capability. If you are interested in a compact camera, or if you already use one, which one? Does the D-LUX 8 interest you? Let me know down in the comments. And while you are on your way down there, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. I put out new videos every week. I have all sorts of new stuff coming up, from a trip across the country with the D-LUX 8, to my time using the Fujifilm X-T50, my first experience with the OM system cameras using the OM1 Mark II, and, well, more film photography, of course. Remember, there is a link to the D-LUX 8 in the description of this video if you want to learn more about it. Thank you to Leica for loaning me the D-LUX 8 ahead of launch, and thank you for watching.